Welcome back to One More Mana. My name's Derik, and today we are getting into a kind of a different series, something I kind of want to do going forward for sets. And this is, I want to talk about cards that kind of elicit reactions from people. And these don't necessarily have to be negative. There's nothing bad about these cards, but when they get played, people at the table are going to take notice. And I've been trying to think of some clever title or some way to just encapsulate what word describes this feeling. And now I kind of was going through different poets and writers and all these fancy people, and I felt like no poet sums it up better than Plies in saying simply bruh. So I'm gonna call this series bruh because that is basically the only way to react to some of these cards. You don't necessarily got to get mad, you don't got to get upset, but you got to take notice. So these are kind of some salt-inducing, petty-inducing cards that I think it's gonna be a good time. Play groups are gonna have fun with these, kind of going back and forth, and I feel like there's a lot of cards in Kaldheim specifically that are gonna have this reaction. So before we get into it, I know everybody wants to mess with their friends sometimes, so head on over to TCG Player and pick up some of these bruh cards, or if you're somebody who wants to play more group hug and stuff, TCG Player has anything you're looking for, any type of foils, alternate arts, showcase frames, whatever it is you're looking for, TCG Player is going to have it. And if you use the affiliate link down in the description below, it'll help support the channel. We really do appreciate all the help. But let's just get right into this. Now, for the first card on this list at number 5, the number 5 most bruh card on this list, I'm going to steal this straight from Ken because Ken's reaction was kind of severe when he heard about this card. And I was like, you know what? I don't think it's a problem, but Ken, you're smarter than I am, so I'm going to go with it. And that is the World Tree. So the World Tree is this non-legendary land that basically you can Progenitus mana and poop all the gods in your deck. So yeah, I mean, I think that sounds like a great time. Ken felt like it was a lot. And now I do feel like bruh is the perfect reaction for this because you might just be minding your own business, doing your own thing, and then all of a sudden you think you have the game in hand. Somehow somebody gets this out, they poop out some Progenitus mana, and next thing you know, all the gods are flowing along with it. It's also going to lead to some crazy complicated board states in Commander, because if you're playing a bunch of gods in a deck, that doesn't just mean I win the game. It's not a combo shuffle up. It's I now have all the Amonkhet gods and the Hour of Devastation gods and this god and this god. And now we got to try to figure out what in the world's going on. And I think that is the most bruh moment of this entire exchange. That is, yeah, it's come on. But it's a powerful card. I think it's a fun card. If there's ways you can kind of just scheme to get it so it's a win on the spot, or maybe you just have a few gods in the deck that you want to fish for. But yeah, I know not to play it against Ken because I will probably be then paying for it for several games to come. At number 4, we have Draugr Necromancer. Now this is specifically, it's a little weird with webcam magic now just because it's harder to steal people's cards, but essentially with this card, whenever your opponent's creatures die, they get exiled and you can go ahead and cast those creatures. Now, with webcam, it's a kind of like a bruh moment for other reasons, but specifically when we get one day in 2035, when we get back to playing in person, it's a whole bunch of other reasons that this is going to be one of those moments, because I found that personally, I tend not to get super salty with things, but when people start stealing my cards and beating me over the face with them, I just get jealous. Like, I put those cards in there, I want to swing at you with them, and you're doing it to me. I can't stop it. And this is going to be one of those cards that I think elicits some of those reactions. Just think, you just brewed, you got this new exciting monster that you just threw into this deck, and all of a sudden, not only did your opponent go and kill it, now they're using it against you. This is like the whole Night King shenanigan, but I guess non-legendary here, where all your stuff's getting reanimated and used against you. And I do think it's a super fun card, but at the same time, getting slapped in the face with all of your own creatures might make that vein on your forehead just pop just a little bit. Now at number 3, this is actually a card I really like, and on a separate list, this is actually one of my favorite cards in the set, so it's kind of back and forth, but it is Mystic Reflection. And now this is the type of card where there's a few different scenarios I can see this playing out. Now, if someone plays an Avenger Zendikar into a board full of lands, you are already in a spot where you're like, oh no, like, this is going to happen. Do I have responses? Am I ready? Spoiler alert, you're not ready. And then all of a sudden they Mystic Reflection that. At that point, bruh is the only reaction you can have because there's about to be 1100 power coming at your face in a turn or two. This card is insane, and I just don't know how to feel, because I feel like I'm going to misevaluate this and I'm going to underestimate it and just not account for what it can do multiple times before I learn my lesson that this card is scary. And if someone's going to play it, hold up an answer, because if not, you're probably going to pay for it. Then at number 2, We have this is probably the first card on this list that I actively don't want to play against too much. It is Sarulf, Realm Eater. And this is basically like Pernicious Deedish type stuff on a creature. It's basically board wipe dot creature. Yeah, so it may be one of those games, if you're playing and someone else has like a goblin deck going on or they got an elf deck going on, this player might be your best friend because they're keeping everything in check. But if you are a deck that likes to have any creatures out, yeah, this card might not be, you might have to have a talk with them afterwards. So the real bruh moment from this card is going to come from the fact that I can see this leading to the longest games of Commander ever. And you know what? I'm not against relatively long games. I'm usually there just to hang out with my friends. I don't care if I don't cast more than 2 spells in a game. I'm there to have a good time, catch up, be social. But there is a point at which a game goes on too long, and I think this might be a culprit for causing that. Just because of the fact that it is not an ETB trigger. It's not a one-time deal like a Child of Alara. This is just board wipe always. And especially with other +1 counter synergies, you can basically guarantee on every one of your turns, you're just re-board wiping and exiling. So even Indestructible doesn't get around it. I can see this turning into one of those situations where if nobody has their Cuban coffee ready or nobody has some sort of energy drink on hand, you're going to have people just drooling on the table because at hour 5 of your wolf just biting all their stuff to death, it might get a little old. So this is a commander that maybe it's really good in the 99. It's going to do stuff like that. But as a commander, I'm gonna be looking at you funny if you play it because I love playing Commander. I like hanging out with you people out there. But once you get to the point of 4 to 5 hours, which this, I don't know, maybe it could push that. That's where I might have a problem. And now the number 1 card on this list should be zero surprise to anyone at all. By far the most bruh-inducing card in this set is Tergrid. Tergrid, God of Fright, and yes, I am frightened of her. This card is terrifying. It's basically just gonna be play it. Not only it's for one, it buys into every. I'm a loss of words here. It buys into every archetype that can kind of poke at the saltiness, like, you know, making people sack all their creatures. You know what? It's a little bit salt inducing. You know what? We'll let it go. Making you discard all your cards. Yeah, now I'm kind of annoyed too. Now I can't have creatures. I can't have cards either. And then last but not least, just that cherry on top, I'm going to steal all your stuff. So you can't have cards in hand. I don't want you to have creatures on the battlefield, but I can. This card just seems absolutely terrifying. It feels like it's going to create games where you have to team up and play arch enemy against it. It seems insane. I do think it's a more cutthroat play groups. This is going to be a super fun card because you're just kind of just seeing how you can, because that's like a weird spot in EDH where it's not quite competitive, but it's not quite casual. So you're just trying to do the craziest broken things to each other. This might have a home there for some fun games. But outside of that, I think this is going to be a boogie woman for years to come. And on that note, I need to build it immediately so I can play it against Ken. And that is going to do it for my top 5 bruh-inducing cards of this set. That was honestly, I was trying to think of a more fancy title, a better title. But when I read Tergrid, which is honestly what inspired me to do this video, that was the only reaction I could have. That was my only reaction. I had no other words to say. And I felt like that was kind of what sums up reading that card. I do think a lot of these cards can be fun, definitely can be kind of broken and all these different types of things. But at the same time, no matter how much you love them, you know what you're doing when you play them. As you can see, I'm wearing my ridiculous Eagles beanie, and I wish I could say fly Eagles fly, but the Eagles are a hopeless franchise right now with no good prospects in the future and just sadness. But Andy Reid's back in the Super Bowl, so you know what? Take us back, Andy. Please. 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 And as always, a huge shout out to all the patrons. We love and appreciate y'all so much. And going forward, let me know what y'all think in the comments about this type of video. I kind of want to do more with set releases, kind of more bite-sized, different top lists about some of my favorite cards in the set for different reasons outside of just the favorite cards I want to play. So let me know what you think about this one. There are going to be a couple more coming out kind of similar, and we'll reevaluate kind of the next set going forward. But either way, tons and tons of stuff to come, some new series and as well in the mix. But until then, I will see y'all next time.